Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came
And here he is,
home.
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry Springer.
Thank you. Oh, holy cow. Yes. Boy, missed you guys on vacation.
Yeah, bet you did.
Yeah. Gene, you were on vacation.
Well, we all were. I know Megan took
Another
cruise
week
for
off.
about 10 days. And
No,
you-
I did not.
Yeah,
No.
Your
well,
vacation is coming here.
Yes, this is my...
yeah.
Jerry, there's a lot of truth to that, and that's
Yeah.
really sad.
Yeah.
Where'd you
know-
go, Gene?
Well, do you remember the show? Whoa, I'm getting buzzed. I
You
turned my
have your phone
off.
on.
Yeah.
You are very professional.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
And it's with an
He's got
antenna.
the same- with an antenna.
I'll call you back. All right, see ya. That was my brother.
Who was that?
How come
What was
mine
that?
doesn't have an umbrella? I mean, an antenna. An umbrella.
There are people who aren't on Facebook Live. I have switched to a flip phone because Jerry Springer has a flip phone.
But
And
yours
it's
is a modern version.
Yeah, mine has an.
Is that
I
really,
don't know
like,
about
for
that.
true, your phone?
That is my
even
phone.
an
I switched
antenna.
it.
Why did you do that?
That
Because
is-
he had one.
You're a nitwit.
No, but
yeah.
that
No, I
is
did that
either
because
an
of the phone.
antenna or he's very happy to see you.
Oh, my God.
I
didn't miss this. I lied.
Yeah.
Can we go back
Hey,
to vacation?
I'm telling you, yeah, and that's pretty stupid. No. But, no, I got it because it's no charge at Verizon. I mean, they've given these away.
They threw it at you as you
Anyway,
walked
it's
through
a
the
flip
door.
phone, yeah. There was a show years ago. I thought it was a very good series called Rich Man, Poor Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I'm obviously poor man. He's obviously rich man. Vacation time comes, 2 weeks, and you were on a cruise for 2 weeks. They quit lying.
I
you
was
were.
not.
So I go on vacation driving 4,000 miles.
Yeah, I saw that.
4,000
No, I
miles.
did see on your
Verified
Facebook. Yep.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
why Facebook exists.
So you know what
can't lie.
happened.
And it wasn't a car rental.
Slept,
It was,
no, my own car.
yeah.
Slept in a tent of the 14 nights, 7 nights. Mm-hmm. So this is like legit. Mm-hmm. And while I'm doing that, dust, because we don't have air conditioning in my car. I have an 83 Plymouth Reliant that I got from my mom before she died. God rest her soul. That's the K car. That's a hell of a car.
K car.
So there's no, the AC stopped working, Megan, years ago.
Bonnie
Before
is a
I
lucky
got
lady.
It, yeah. Windows down, just bearing down, through North Dakota. And I noticed some beaches flaked out on a beach in Coronado.
Coronado, yeah.
Yeah, we were in Coronado.
I feel bad for you. How was that?
Well, I'll tell you, there was a moment that I really kind of lost it.
The mint on the pillow was on the...
Yes, the turn-down service.
How did
The
I know that,
turn-down
Jerry?
service, 2 nights in a row, no chocolates.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
I'm
Not
telling
right.
you, I felt like I was camping out.
Yeah.
Back in Cuba.
What has happened
but
to America?
it was beautiful.
So where did you end up going?
From Ludlow, Kentucky, from my garage, Wisconsin, North Dakota. By the way, hey, let me get serious for a minute. I've done this actually a number of times, my wife and I, and if you don't love America, if you roll across America and see how this country changes from the Midwest to the northern states of North Dakota, Teddy Roosevelt National Park, the northern Badlands, the southern Badlands has better PR, but if you get up to the northern Badlands, into Montana, all the way to Glacier National Park, then into Canada, that was our route, down through Wyoming, South Dakota, and back again. This country is amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
In its topography and its people, the national parks. I'll do a comparison with you because I think you got the same deal. When I rolled into the first national park we went to, and I just turned 65 2 weeks ago, so I now am officially, Megan, a senior citizen.
Right, yeah,
So
10
I get
years,
the cut rate
right.
for the national park.
Congratulations, Gene.
Jerry got that
That's
10,
the
about
last
10
thing
years
he,
ago.
The last thing he remembers was being 65. Yeah.
So I got
The
cut
rest-
rate on all the national parks,
Wow.
all these campgrounds. And
What a world we live in.
Did you get half price at Coronado because you're like 85?
It's
You're like 85 years old.
96, what are you?
96.
It is great. I mean, it is.
Hold on, my real phone is buzzing here. I'm sorry about that.
Hold on, though, Jene. Did you say that you went to Glacier National Park?
We did.
Okay. Is that why you're wearing the hat that says Glacier National Park
Yeah,
on
I
it?
just came back from vacation.
Okay.
Vacation.
It's like wearing the
hat.
band T-shirt that you're
Yeah.
going to see, dude. Like, that's
Yeah, you
ridiculous.
don't do
You
that.
don't do that.
He's not wearing a
No, I just
Coronado
got back from
airbrush
Cancun.
T-shirt.
You're wearing the T-shirt. No.
I mean, it's
I'm
only
kind of a tool, you know.
I mean,
That's my thing.
I mean, it's only in the nicest way. You are a loser.
Hey, yeah, I'm a loser.
Jerry, do you
A
have on a
total
Coronado
loser.
T-shirt underneath you?
No, I don't think so.
Don't show us if you do.
No,
He got the tattoo instead.
Yeah, yeah.
it's not a full shirt. It just stops.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's called a dickie. We just call those a
I'm
dickie.
wearing a dickie.
It's Coronado.
No.
This really is off track.
Yeah.
Off the
Yeah.
rails here.
I do have, and I'll show it to you at the post-show prep dinner that we're prepping the next week.
Sure.
A picture on the Highline Trail in Glacier National Park, where it's a spectacular trail, and I really do urge people to. You got to look up Teddy Roosevelt National Park. It's not very well visited because it's kind of up there. And Glacier National Park isn't either, but it's a hiker's park.
Mm-hmm.
People who go there, everybody is all duded out in hiking gear, clothes. That's
And
all.
Bonnie's down for all this. Like you
Yes.
guys did this
Yeah,
together. That's so
and by the
cool.
way, she did want to do everything we did.
Yeah.
Because I do not.
Because I saw all your
Twist
pictures,
arms.
yeah, on Facebook, and it really did
No, I
look
don't.
cool. Did you? So wait a second. Who did you see on vacation?
Oh, Megan, I saw a celebrity
You did?
entourage that was really
Yeah.
interesting. And I had never seen, I'm not around many celebrities, so I'd never seen a celebrity.
Not ones of any
Well, yeah.
consequence, but
No,
yeah.
no, I did. Hey, I compared the entourage of Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
to
He's-
Jerry
for
Springer.
real, he saw
no,
him,
you
yeah.
want to know something? Here's the truth. When we have gone to Sturgis, South Dakota
Yes.
multiple times, motorcycle riding, Jerry's entourage, it looked exactly like Mark Zuckerberg's
Really?
entourage. It really does. I mean, because what happens is if a celebrity rolls through, in this case, it was at a place called Logan Pass in Glacier National Park. It's at the top of the park, the highest point. And all of a sudden, my wife said, Mark Zuckerberg, and I grabbed my phone to shoot a picture. He had sunglasses on, and I'm hitting the right button. Kicked those off, and I got him walking by. Mm-hmm. And I put that up
In
on
his
Facebook.
signature like gray T-shirt and jeans, like you knew it was him from the back.
Unbelievable. And somebody told me, I'm trying to remember, it might have been Maria Corelli here at the Folk School Coffee Parlor, who is one of our favorite folk singers, and the barista said, I think it was she that said, it's really funny, cool to see a guy who's that rich, just wearing a T-shirt and jeans, just legit walking through with about 12 Rangers. They had a service dog.
I don't like talking about people richer than me.
No,
Jerry's
I
feeling
think
inadequate.
He is richer. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
And I yelled to him.
Yeah. Why don't you go on his podcast?
Well, it's a
he
fair
tried.
point.
He tried.
Fair point.
Zuckerberg said no.
And I yelled to him, Mark, why is Facebook loading so slowly? And he just walked by and didn't answer.
Did you really do that?
And I think he might have gone like this as he walked by.
Maybe threw the finger at you. Maybe.
I didn't really do that.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't do that.
You would do that.
Well, when I
you
walk
did
by,
that, didn't you?
People always go, "Who's the father?"
Yeah. It's a different show. It's a different show. You know.
That's the thing.
Did go to Sturgis because my wife had never seen Sturgis, so we went there. We went back to the scene of the crime.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We
The
were in
zip
front
line.
of the Broken Spoke, one of the great bars in Sturgis, and no, that place is
That was a good
ramping
time,
up
yeah.
right now.
Bonnie
for,
deserves a medal. Just
Yeah.
forever. I mean,
Oh,
this is,
right.
can you imagine
the
this
rally
trip?
is next week. It's
it's
usually
coming
the
up
first week
about
in
a week.
August.
Yeah, coming up. Wanted to ask you something, Megan.
Yeah, Gene.
And we've got, by the way, Casey Campbell coming up as
Yeah.
our musical performer.
Whoa!
Casey, by the way, is our music coordinator. And man, we couldn't be doing this without Casey
Yeah,
Campbell. We all know
for
that.
sure.
And he's a
That's true.
great solo performer, which he'll do tonight. I think Maria Corelli is going to join him on a song, he told me. But he's also part of Buffalo Wobbs and the Price Hill Hustle, which is a significant group here in the Midwest. And Jerry, we're going to ask to talk about all this pardon talk. That's kind of interesting. But Megan, in fairness to you, every time we do a podcast, Jerry and I always ask, how you doing?
Uh-huh.
You tell us. and you have I'm going to just call him a
And how was
boyfriend.
the cruise? That was
I
the
didn't
thing.
go on a cruise.
Well, how was the cruise?
I didn't go on a cruise.
And we always say,
How's the boyfriend?
How's your boyfriend? Because you have a boyfriend. I think that's the
do.
right term.
Yeah.
Did he
And-
come on that? Would you like to date?
No, he did not.
Well, see, but that raises that, Jerry. Why? And I'm going to cuss now. So parents, put your fingers in your children's
Earmuff
ears.
it.
Why in the hell are we running a promotion on the jerryspringer.com website? Would you like to date Megan?
If you've got a
I
boyfriend.
don't
you have a
know. I
boyfriend.
don't run the website, Gene.
Well,
I'm sorry.
actually, I do. Yeah.
So that would be a question for you.
Well, it's not right because I got to tell you, I spend probably a third of my week as a producer of this podcast on the phone talking to the guys who have called that week. I'd like to date Megan. I'm vetting them.
In the 2.5 years we've been on, we had 3 calls.
That is not true. That is not
Thank
true.
you, Jerry.
That is not true. We've had 3 that.
You
for-
lie like Trump.
Well, maybe I do.
I'm sorry to the
As
handful
we
of
say
people that are
uptown,
very disappointed.
maybe I do and maybe I do. But nonetheless, I think we've had 3 that we have turned down for reasons that we don't need to revisit that.
One had a wife.
Demographic
One had
issue.
a prison
One had
record.
a wife.
One had-
The
One was in prison.
The first did have a wife.
The first one had a wife.
He really did. That was
Yeah.
legit. That wasn't something.
Well, he
we
brought
set
his
up.
wife
He brought his
to
wife.
the show.
Yes, he sure did.
and she was down with it.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
still,
I
but no.
don't even want to get into all that because I don't
'Cause you're a
understand
great
all that.
vetter.
Anyway, shouldn't we take that down?
Yeah, go
Does
ahead,
the
Jim.
time come?
Yeah, I
that we
think the
pull that
time
I
down?
has
mean,
come.
sure, why not? Take it down. It's all
There ought to
done.
be some. We ought to hire an operator though to handle the call.
Yeah.
Tell people. It's
Tens of people that have called in the 2.5
I'll
years.
have them call. I'll tell you what I do. I'll route those calls to the same late night phone recorder that Ann Coulter calls
There we
into,
go.
and Melania Trump.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
what we'll do.
Yep.
All right,
I
it's
love it.
coming down.
I love it.
Yeah.
We can always put it back up. By the way,
Frank, you're on notice.
but
You
it's
can
coming
always go
down.
back up.
That's coming down.
It's coming down.
So pardon talk.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's going to pardon that. He might pardon you.
When I first heard him say pardon, I figured that's the first time he's ever been polite.
Yeah. And we're talking about
'Cause when does
President
Trump? Yeah, Trump.
Donald Trump.
And that's exactly what he may do, is pardon himself. It's really a very substantive issue, this whole question of a possible pardon.
And let's remind people as you get into
Yeah.
this, all kidding aside, you are an attorney by training, and you were trained in one of the best law schools in America, Northwestern Law School. That's no joke. So and I'm sure others are interested
And
in
I'd
hearing
like to
what's
know.
your take on it.
I'd now like
What?
to say to Northwestern, pardon me, but I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Our bad.
Yeah,
Northwestern, our
there
bad.
goes their reputation.
No, it's true, though.
Yeah, obviously, the first 6 months of the Trump presidency, the most serious issue in terms of the Trump presidency has been the whole Russia business. Now, the most important issue in terms of actual citizens, obviously, is the health insurance debate. But in terms of the Trump presidency, this is the thing that puts him over the edge. And the whole Russian question is the one item which legitimately threatens the Trump presidency. All the other things, even though they could even be more important, they're political issues. You can have an honest debate over, health insurance. There are different positions to take. All the other things are political, open to political debate. The reason they get so up in arms about this whole Russian question is because it is the one thing that has to do with criminal conduct. And it's the one thing which jeopardizes the lives of the people in his administration, the people in his campaign, his own family, and even himself. So this is obviously, why does he go ballistic about this? It's because with all the bravado aside, he knows when he's alone in his room at night that, oh my gosh, I really face some major problems here. And you know that he's really worried about it, because why else would you even raise the issue of a pardon? Unless, if you're not guilty of anything, it doesn't even come up in a discussion. So we know how worried he is. And his worry about it has even added to the possible evidence of obstruction of justice, because he's been so worried about it. He's, fired Sally Yates. He's fired Comey. He's angry. He may get rid of Sessions by the time this is heard. He's upset with Sessions because he recused himself from all the Russia issues. So therefore, this is the issue that could sink him. And he now, because he thinks about himself all the time, this is the one thing he's figuring, maybe if everything else falls apart, we've got the pardon. Well, here's the problem. Looking at the Constitution, clearly the president has the right to pardon any citizen. Any citizen for any crime, using the language of the Constitution, for crimes committed against the United States, except for impeachment. You can't pardon yourself out of an impeachment. But any crimes committed against the United States, he can pardon, which includes his own relatives. So it may be unseemly, but if they get Jared or they get Ivanka on some crime, he can pardon them. The second thing to remember about a pardon is that he has the right to pardon anybody, is that a pardon can also be proactive. It can precede what may turn out to be being charged with a crime. You can do it ahead of time. So, for example, if he's worried about his son-in-law and family members being involved in crimes, and his own son, he has to obviously issue the pardon while he's still president, otherwise he doesn't have the power anymore. And he can issue the pardon for any crimes that may have been committed during the presidency. He can do it ahead of time, which is what Gerald Ford did with Richard Nixon. After Nixon resigned because he could see impeachment coming, a month later, Gerald Ford, then the president, pardoned Richard Nixon for any crimes he committed or may have committed during his presidency. And he hadn't been charged with anything yet. Remember? No crimes had Nixon been charged with yet. And so that he would never have to face prosecution, Ford granted the pardon. So you can do it ahead of time. So actually, Trump could tomorrow announce that I hereby pardon Jared plus Don Jr. plus, my daughter, all the people he wants to pardon for any crimes they may have committed during the presidency, during my term. And it would stand. Now, when we say any crimes, it has to be a crime against the United States. So remember when he famously said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and nobody would care. He was talking about how popular he is. Well, maybe his voters wouldn't care, the people that voted for him, but the rest of the country would, and certainly the prosecutors would. And he can't pardon himself from that. Why? Because that's a state crime. Those kind of, murder, assault, all that kind of thing, that's a state crime, and he has no power to pardon of a state crime. It can only be for crimes against the United States. So, obstruction of justice, he can be pardoned. But for shooting someone, you can't be pardoned because that's inevitably a state crime unless you do it in Washington, D.C. The law is totally unclear on whether he can pardon himself. We now know he can pardon his family members and everybody else for any crime they commit in the future even, having to do with the presidency and crimes against the United States. He can do that. But now the question is, as he raised, can he pardon himself? There's no law on that because it hasn't been done. Nixon came close. But to his credit, he decided he morally couldn't do that. Yes, Richard Nixon decided he couldn't do it. It was about 3 days before he resigned from office. It was already clear that the Congress and the Senate was going to vote him out with an impeachment. And knowing that he didn't want to face that, he resigned. But that night before, he was in a discussion about whether or not he could pardon himself. And he said, no, I can't do that. That's as close as we ever came to that. But Trump, as you know, doesn't care about any of the norms. He just goes and does what he wants. So we can all imagine him saying, if everything else fails, if he can't get rid of Comey or whatever, that he will just say, I pardon myself of all crimes. And, you know, he would build a whole political argument for it. He'd say, this is a witch hunt. This is ridiculous. They're trying to overthrow the government. I'm not going to permit it. I hereby pardon, and we're going to put an end to this Russian thing. And you know there would be Trump supporters that would go along with that. So I can see him doing that. Then, if he does that, then the Supreme Court has to deal with it. It's very difficult normally to predict what the Supreme Court would do, because what would happen as soon as he was charged with a crime, immediately, or as soon as he issued a pardon for future crimes, that case would get to the Supreme Court. My guess is the Supreme Court would decide you can't pardon yourself. And the reason for that goes to the very basis of our constitutional government. It's why we had the Declaration of Independence getting away from the British king in 1776. We didn't want a king. So our Constitution was written to provide a balance of power, checks and balances, that no one institution could override the other institutions by itself. So you had the Congress, the judiciary, and the president. But the president was not a king. And if you permitted the president of the United States to pardon himself, what you are saying is we now have legally a dictator. Because now the president can do anything he or she wants and know that they will not be prosecuted because they will pardon themselves, which means do whatever you want. You are now a dictatorship. I can't imagine even a conservative Supreme Court saying that that's okay, because that will have done away with constitutional government. Then we might as well just forget all the rest of what we do here, and let's just have a dictator and hope he doesn't shoot us. So I think the Supreme Court would say that's unconstitutional and come up with a theory that it violates the whole concept of a democratic government with checks and balances and no authoritarian government. But let's say I'm dead wrong. Let's say for some reason the Supreme Court grants him the power to pardon himself, saying that the Constitution is silent on it, and if the Constitution is silent on it, and it otherwise says you can grant a pardon to anyone except when there's an impeachment, then I guess the Supreme Court could technically say, well, he's allowed to do it because he is anyone. It didn't specifically say he couldn't do that. So what if the Supreme Court said it's okay, you can do that? Here's where we got trouble. The only remedy left is impeachment. And as we always say every week, it's a Republican Congress. Would they impeach the president of their own party? So far, they've demonstrated no backbone to go against the president of their own party, no matter how outrageous his behavior has been. And recognizing that the Republican Congress is not just Republican, but it's overwhelmingly conservative, here is the issue that we're suddenly faced with. The future of our country would then be in the hands of the conservatives. And the definition of a conservative, what they seem to be most proud of, conservatives, is the protection, the conserving of our institutions. To protect our institutions. That's their conservatism. They pay homage to it. Our founding fathers. Checks and balances. That's their creed. That's what they believe. And if conservatives, if our political conservatives in America, who happen to be Republicans, but if political conservatives think it's okay to have an authoritarian leader and no constitutional protection, that he can do whatever he wants, then the whole concept of conservatism is a farce. They have then lied about what their principles are. And I don't think they're going to do that, to be honest. I think the John McCains of the world, the conservative Republicans of stature, Lindsey Graham, I think an awful lot of Republicans, if Trump ever pardoned himself, I think that would be the red line that Republicans finally say, and America would say. Can you imagine the demonstrations in the street, even if you were a Trump supporter, if he suddenly says, I pardon myself from any crime I might be prosecuted for? I think anyone who loves this country would finally step up and say, no, and that would be grounds for impeachment. That is our ultimate security. And the irony is that the defense of America through all this Trump presidency will in the end rest with whether or not conservatives stick to their principles.
Yeah.
So pardon me.
But
Oh, I got 1,000.
I know you do. Let's
My
not go there.
grandson is learning my jokes.
Oh no!
Yes, that's
Why
what the
would
rest
you
of the
do
family
that
says.
to him?
I know.
All right, so coming up here tonight, we have our very own Casey Campbell, which
Yeah.
you're very excited about. How's it going, Casey? Howdy, howdy. That's a pretty fancy guitar you got there, sir.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we're paying him more than I thought.
Or too little, and I'm having to
And
double
Miss
up on
Maria
jobs. I think
Corelli
that's
is
what it
joining
is.
him as well. Hi,
I'm having to
Maria.
take the musician salary along with the music
yeah.
coordinator salary.
What you gonna sing for us, Casey?
We're going to do a song for you here called Colorado Cloud. I got the lovely Maria Corelli.
Woo!
That's gonna be
I like this song. It's a good song.
one of the pretty things about the folk school here is if you're ever in need for a singer or a picker, you just stop in. You never know who's going to be around. Maria was serving coffee, and I said, hey, you want to sing with me? And she said, okay.
One-stop shop.
That's right. This is a song called Colorado Cloud. I wrote it with my good friend Stephen Williams. It goes like this. Sometimes I walk through the mail 3 times a day, waiting on a letter from you. What can I do or say? Sometimes I answer the phone, strange numbers call, with my fingers crossed, hoping to hear your voice say, hey. I've been walking upstairs, but it's bringing me down. And the higher I get, the bottom can't be found. Colorado cloud carried me back to you, and then the rain fell down, and I fell too. Sometimes I hear your voice, it's singing in my head, and it's a little off key, but that don't matter to me. Sometimes I see your face, it's on a crowded street, my heart skips a day, and my knees go weak. I've been walking upstairs, but it's bringing me down. And the higher I get, the bottom can't be found. Colorado cloud carried me back to you, and then the rain fell down, and I fell too. carry me back to you, and then the rain fell down, and I fell too.
That is a great song. I love that
Thank you, thank you.
song. And that's off of your album. What's it called, Casey?
Care of General Delivery.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the latest
a
album.
great
Yep.
album.
Thank you very much.
You've listened to that, Jerry. That's
Yes.
the one yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So, Casey, what else are you going to sing for us tonight?
Oh, that's
Hey,
an excellent
before
question.
can I jump?
Yeah,
I
jump
want
in.
to jump in with one
Sure.
thing before he does the second song. Casey was the headline act at a rally for Bernie Sanders,
That's right.
presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Last go around. At a rally
I totally forgot
in
about that.
Covington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And Casey, tell us a little bit about how that happened and how that went. What did you do, etc.
Well, I got a call. That rally was on a Sunday afternoon. I got a call Friday evening from somebody in his campaign. A band I'm with, which you already mentioned, Buffalo Wobbs and the Price Hill Hustle. We were asked to do that rally, and one of the members couldn't do it. But I refused to give up the chance to play for Bernie Sanders' rally.
Yeah.
So I told the organizer that I could put together a trio of music, and they wanted something kind of rousing and old time.
Yeah.
Apparently, Bernie is a big fan of Americana and bluegrass music, which I didn't know.
course he
So
is. God
just
love
another
him.
reason to like him, I guess. So. But I wouldn't turn down the chance to do so, and so I had a gig out of town on Saturday and made sure I was back here on Sunday, and we put it together, and it was a real treat. He was here to rally the troops for the healthcare debate. He came into Mitch McConnell's territory to tell his constituents about.
Oh, so this was recent. This wasn't
just-
during
Oh,
the-
this was just
Like
a week
last
and a half.
weekend.
This was while,
Wow.
yeah, you were gallivanting all across the world. I was,
He was doing the work here.
Playing social
Boots on the
justice
ground,
music,
Jerry.
that's right.
There was a lot of social justice in Coronado.
Oh, as there always is.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah. But no, this was recently. This was the
Yeah.
Care Not Cuts rally. Yeah.
Good for
Yep.
you.
So, yeah,
That's
it was
really
a real
cool.
treat because, Kentucky has gained more than any other state because of the Affordable Care Act.
Exactly.
And so Bernie Sanders was here to make sure that the voting, populace knew
Yeah.
what they stand to lose. I mean, it's a very real issue around here. It's not some ethereal debate. I mean, this is going on, and it's going to affect thousands and thousands of people. So.
There's a great picture.
Now it's 32 million. in the
Yeah,
latest
exactly.
plan.
Yeah,
Is that
with the new
plan that they're
incarnation
talking
of this
about,
debacle.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is a great picture on the website, jerryspringer.com, our podcast website, with you singing
Yep.
with the
Yeah.
other members.
We
of
sang
the
"This
trip.
Land Is Your Land,"
And with
Woody
Bernie
Guthrie thing.
Sanders is right there
Yeah,
with
he
you.
was right
doing
there
it.
with
It's
us,
very cool.
singing
That's
along. Yeah.
so neat.
He's got better rhythm than you, Jerry. I'm
Really?
just saying.
Casey, like, how hard is that, though, really?
You can redeem yourself tonight. We do still have a chance. So.
That's not going to do it. You better come up with another plan. Yeah, that's not good.
That's so cool.
Oh, I kid. This song is called "Easy." This is one of the first songs I wrote. This is a kind of a throwback to an old blues tune here. Long time ago, in a world so far away, one girl called one boy her own, till one night she had to beg him to stay. He said, "I got to keep moving on, these feet can't stay still too long." He got in his car as it began to rain. It was hiding her crying and feeding her pain. September, he drove away with tears in her eyes. Now that boy's grown to be a man, finds it's harder to say goodbye, 'cause it's not so easy to let you go. How is it you just walked away and left me here alone? It's not so easy, oh, easy for me to know. If my love for you was really true, or if we're holding on, 'cause it's so easy. Oh baby, there you stand, with your suitcase and your keys in your hand. You're threatening to leave for good. Well, go on, honey, I kinda wish you would. You know I never stopped loving you, even when you had to go and be untrue. Oh, it's never had to do with love. You know we both got lonely, we didn't think enough. Time has forever to heal these wounds, yes I know. Oh, but baby, if your love is real, I'm begging you, please, won't you let me go? 'Cause it's not so easy to let you go. How is it you just walked away and left me here alone? It's not so easy for me to know if my love for you was really true, or if we're holding on for far too long because it's so damn easy.
Oh.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
It's a shame such a shame his voice doesn't carry. Such a shame.
I
just
know.
can't fill
You got to
it.
try to. Yeah.
Not very demonstrative.
Not
is
really
he?
at all. It's
No.
really lacking feeling.
You got it.
That's awesome, Casey.
Well,
thank you
I'm
very
not going to be able to sing tonight. I just. So.
I don't blame
But
you
thanks,
there.
everybody.
Jerry, something tells me you got it in you.
He's somewhere he's going to dig down deep and
I
find
think
it.
you
Yeah,
will.
we don't want to dig there, man. It's not pretty.
I set myself up on that one.
You
My bad.
did.
My bad.
You're bad. Yeah. Hey, by the way, is this land is your land? Is that a public domain song?
You know, I
'Cause
don't
that's
think it
another
is.
song.
I think somebody in the Guthrie family still owns all that
Okay.
stuff to Woody's.
All right. Well, then we
Okay,
can't
look
afford it.
that up.
Yeah,
I'm
look it
not
up, because that's
can't
a
afford
great.
that.
We can't afford it.
Casey Campbell's going to take us out this evening.
I will.
A little help from Jerry Springer.
Just a little help. Maybe. I would like to go ahead and thank you guys personally. I have a live microphone, so I'm going to use it. Jerry and Jene, thank you guys so much for what you've been doing for the last 2.5 years here
Yeah.
at the folk school.
Oh.
I feel like you've added a real sensible voice. I feel like you guys have just added a very sensible voice to a really real debate that we have going on right now, and it takes people trying to talk common sense and not just talking hyperbole and not just trying to scream at a television camera. And
Yep,
I really
I agree.
appreciate you for the
Thank you.
conversation you've tried
Thank you,
to have.
Casey.
So, thank you.
All right, we'll continue to pay you. Jeez.
Jeez. Casey, you got a little
Working
something
for a
right
living.
there, buddy.
Hey, working for a living. Everybody's got to do it, right?
Oh,
I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, yeah, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more.
listening to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery, recorded live at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky. Thanks to Patrick Kennedy for writing our opening song, and to you for listening. Check out our website at jerryspringer.com.